Hello, everybody. It's Daryn Wood, and welcome to another episode of Gift of Gab. Blah, 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 blah.
We're here to gab.
I'm here with my wonderful, beautiful best friend, Allie Haugen. Say hello.
Hi.
And today, I thought it would be fun to talk about just some spells, some fave spells we love, a goodie, a classic, ones you're always excited to see and excited to use, and the ones you have the most fun using. You probably have a lot more to say about this because you play wizards a lot.
I love spellcasters.
Yeah.
I love them. There's so much you can do with them to make them really dynamic characters, whether that's in and outside of combat. And I love getting better at using different spells. Mm-hmm. I recently found out that my favorite spell is a lot more controversial than I was aware of.
Which one?
Silvery Barbs.
Silvery Barbs is controversial?
Yeah. Apparently.
Are we dumb for not knowing that?
Exactly. I didn't know.
I guess I'm just so unproblematic. I didn't know.
Yeah. I just love it so much. I didn't realize that people didn't. And yeah, it wasn't until I was playing in my new campaign, and I'm playing a bard. So naturally, I took my favorite spell, Silvery Barbs, and my DM made a comment like, "Oh, you're lucky that I allow that at my table." And I was aghast. Mm-hmm. I guess I hadn't realized that some DMs don't allow it.
Oh.
I didn't know. But
I guess I could. Actually, I don't know. I was like, I'm trying to understand why it would be controversial, and maybe we should look at. I don't know. I'm trying to understand why it's controversial. Maybe they just don't like the undue nature of it.
I think
it's
so.
just kind of like I do this thing. No, you don't.
But it's also not no, you don't. It's actually, I'm gonna try to make you. Oh, you don't.
Yeah.
And for me, I like it because I talk about a lot about how I really like the collaboration of the game.
Yeah.
And for me, it's one of those spells that you use to benefit ideally another player. Yeah. So when an attack roll happens against your player, or when your player tries to do something with an effect, whether that's the new sleep spell or stunning strike or something like that, that a player has tried to do and the enemy saved, you're like, try again.
Yeah.
And either it works or it doesn't work because it's still against a save.
That's probably why some DMs don't like it, because they don't like the ability for people to be like, or to have this big heavy moment of critical hit.
Yeah.
You're fucked. And you're just like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
Sorry, Barbs.
But I mean, I feel like if it's against a bad that's the big bad, they have legendary resistance. Yeah. So just burn one of those.
I guess everyone has I can see maybe why some people wouldn't want to deal with it, but I think I like anything that makes you Uno reverse, think on your feet.
Yeah.
So I'm I love Silvery Barbs for that exact reason. You think something's going to happen and then it doesn't happen the way that you want it to. I love that.
Even if it didn't work, you still get to bless a party member with advantage, which I think is even cooler and more fun, because it's gift here, trying to support your team.
Yeah.
I love a spell like that.
Yeah, I like any spell that lets you kind of strategically set up the battlefield, you know what I mean? Whether that's giving advantage, giving disadvantage, you know what I mean? Like Vicious Mockery, it's such a silly little stupid spell, stupid little damage cantrip, but it does give disadvantage, and that's huge.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
can be huge, in a moment where it's it can be the make or break of a moment, and I love that from Silvery Barbs. I think that's so fun.
Yeah.
Guys.
It's truly my favorite.
Let Silvery Barbs have its thing.
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe, I've never DM'd before, so I don't know if perhaps it's harder to balance.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never balanced an encounter, so I can't speak on that. If maybe that's why DMs have something against it.
Yeah, sound off in the comments why.
Let us know
if you don't like it. Yeah, why you don't like it.
If you're a DM and don't allow Silvery Barbs at your table, please tell me why. And I will not be playing at your table.
You're I will take my Silvery Barbs.
I will take Silvery Barbs above everything.
I simply cannot play a player without Silvery Barbs. But when we were talking about Vicious Mockery, made me think of cantrips, because cantrips are stealth spells, and my literal My favorite, like literally, I think one of my favorite spells of all time is Prestidigitation. Like
Yes.
I actually love Prestidigitation because it makes me actually feel like the most magical. Like if we're thinking like if we want to get like right to it, like you're like 8 years old and you're reading Harry Potter or something, and you're seeing like fantasy, you're watching Lord of the Rings, and you just like want like magic to be real. Prestidigitation feels like magic being real because you're like, oh, if I had magic, I would be doing, you know, like Matilda ass shit. Like I would be stirring the pancakes batter without hands or like, and so it's like really, I just think it's one of the most like narratively fun things to use.
Yeah.
Like regardless of if it like doesn't help me or not, if Prestidigitation is available to me as a cantrip, I will take it 100% of the time.
There's so much flavor that you can add with that. And I think, yeah, a rule when I was first learning how to pick spells and cantrips and stuff by my brother, shout out Bradley, you know, he mentioned that it's good to have a balance of cantrips, especially that are useful and are flavorful.
Yeah, and are just fun. Like, what are you going to have fun doing? Like, what makes you feel like you're your character, you're a part of the world? Being able to clean someone up with Prestidigitation, make a smell, like, that kind of stuff is just so fun to me.
Yes.
Like, I love Prestidigitation. Prestidigitation, girl, you always got a seat at my table.
Girl, you clean now.
Girl, you can always sit at my table. I always have a place for you.
Yeah. You know, another fun one that we just experienced the other day in our campaign, slow.
You know,
I haven't used that spell often, and I forgot
fucking love slow.
how handy it
Yeah.
can be, especially for, you know, being an area of effect spell and being able to really change the dynamics on the battlefield.
When you're fighting a lot of people, and we were like in this situation when we were
you're
fighting
outnumbered.
Yeah, we like odds were not good.
Yeah, it was huge. And there's so many effects that come into place. When you fail slow, it's, you know, you choose whether you have an action, bonus action, or reaction. You have a -2 penalty to both your attacks and your AC.
Oh, disadvantage on dexterity saving throws?
Yes, disadvantage on dexterity. That's
so
huge.
There's so much shit that comes with so like we forgot. Like, because it's like we all know we're like, oh, slow, haste, blah blah blah. There's like spells that come up a lot. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just because we've been playing for a while, but you hit slow and we were like, why is slow hitting so hard right now?
Yes.
Like, I forgot about slow.
Right?
We were fighting,
Queen. We were fighting that mage, and the mage went to cast their spell, and we're like, Actually, it's slowed. So if it rolls above, oh shoot, I forget. If you roll above an 11, I believe it is, then the spell actually doesn't take effect until its next turn.
So boom,
and that's huge.
Yeah.
That is huge.
Yeah.
Especially, I think that mage was casting fireball on us.
Yeah, and it was like for one of my beloved NPCs, like one of those like creatures I've collected that I won't let our DM like give away.
Yeah.
You know, what can you do? Okay,
don't kill our main character NPC.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so I'm an Oathbreaker Paladin, right? And so one of the things that you can do is control undead. You can control undead, I think it's like 24 hours or something like that. The reason why I played an Oathbreaker Paladin, this is like the first character I created, Bradley, her brother. We should also have a counter for how many times we mention Bradley. Like, I swear to God, we talk about him every episode.
Emily Axford, read the room, Bradley.
And he was like, because I was like, oh, what should I do? And he's like, well, this is going to be like a kind of like demon-y, dungeon-y focused campaign. So maybe build a character that has stats built for that. I was like, oh, great. There's a lot of undead things in an Oathbreaker Paladin. I'll do that. Build an Oathbreaker Paladin. Do control undead. We come across this skeleton. We fight this skeleton. Instead, I control undead. It's following us around. We can all guess where this is going, right?
We're also clearly the type of players that like to collect NPCs.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't want a little guy?
They're my friends now.
So I controlled undeaded this skeleton literally, I think for like weeks. And like I would be like, oh, it's 24 hours. And I kept actually winning. Like I actually successfully, like it was one of those things where kind of like the dice tell the story. And I kept successfully controlling the skeleton for weeks, and to the point where our beautiful, lovely, wonderful, amazing DM was like,
you failed to save. You failed the control undead. And Steven willingly joined our party.
I know. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, it fails because he's here of his own free will now. And I was like, good. I love you so much. You're the best DM in the world. Except, so now but like Steven can't be healed. He's a
Yeah.
skeleton. So he's just kind of like this liability sometimes. We're like, no, Steven, please get out of the way. Save yourself. And he just
Don't be a hero.
Yeah. But like the funny thing is, it's like he's a skeleton. When we are fighting him, that could summon other skeletons, like and make a little like skeleton army. And so every once in a while we'll have like 6 NPCs, like 8 NPCs on the field, and Bradley's just like begrudgingly, he's like, no, I did this to myself. Like, no, I know it's no one's fault but mine that I am like rolling for 6 stupid little skeletons right now. Hey,
Gotta make the players happy.
I did this to myself. This is so annoying.
He really loves us.
He loves
Talk
us.
about get yourself a DM that loves you.
Hey, get your brother.
Yeah, make your brother DM
Actually,
for you.
make your DM loving you a prerequisite to the relationship, aka a family member, and then have them DM for you.
Yeah, build every encounter like you love me.
Yeah.
Please.
Is that so much to ask?
It shouldn't be.
To do everything to make me so happy.
Make me happy. Yeah, other fun spells. I think. Oh, okay. Fun spells for others that I don't know if I can get behind. I mean, not that I can't get behind them, but I don't love them the way I see other people loving them. Mm-hmm. Magic Missile is one.
You don't like Magic Missile?
I don't dislike Magic Missile. I just feel like I never.
Like boring or something?
I guess. Yeah, I feel like there's other spells in my repertoire that I'm usually leaning towards. Like, I would rather use Scorching Ray or Fireball. I mean, I guess maybe if you're not high enough level, then it's a tried and true, like you're a level 2 wizard.
Like
you don't have those.
You got to do Magic Missile. You're like, you have nothing else to
Yeah,
do.
yeah. But I don't know. I think that in the case that I had Magic Missile and the Firebolt cantrip, I'd probably do the Firebolt cantrip.
I guess like when you're thinking of like visually, right, which is like usually when I'm like thinking of like spells and encounters and stuff, I'm trying to like imagine it in real life. Magic Missile can feel so rote. Like it can feel like kind of boring and like mundane. But man, dude, Magic Missile is all reliable.
Yeah.
She always hits.
I mean, damage is damage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know I have a lot of friends that I play with that are all about Magic Missile. And I think in the wizard I'm playing with in our ongoing campaign, I don't even think I took Magic Missile.
Yeah, I think it's because like Magic Missile like can become so useful sometimes in ways that you wouldn't even expect it, where it's just like, because you can just like send them into, I don't know. I think it's like one of those ones that I end up putting on my spell list a lot just because I don't know when, because it's a guaranteed hit.
For sure.
And like are there any other guaranteed hits?
I mean, other than the new Witch Bolt connecting you if you're within range and under
I'm sure there are, but there are very few guaranteed hits.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, man, when you are down and out and you need something, that Magic Missile, baby. She's
especially if the conditions are right and you can't even see your enemy, or it is a great one.
Yeah. Are you changing your mind?
I'm not.
No.
I don't know. I still,
You're like, no.
I still don't think it's one that I'll use. Maybe I'll try.
Yeah.
I'll give it a try. But
you know what? I think it's because I'm more of like a dweeb.
Okay.
So I like want to be.
You want the guarantee.
Yeah, I want to be safe.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be. I don't know. I get scared.
That's
I
fair.
Get scared.
That's fair. I'm gonna roll for it. I wanna roll some dice, and if it goes bad, and then I'm a little sad because I do nothing on my turn, especially as a spellcaster when, you have such limited action economy when it comes to attacks. And so if you roll for attack and you miss, that's all, folks.
Yeah. That's another spell I like.
I've had a lot of fun with Summon Elemental. Obviously, this is like once you get into the higher levels of spellcasters, but...
Well, everyone wants a little guy.
Yeah.
Everyone just wants a little guy.
Yep. An elemental that does cool things. It's kind of like, it's playing with a familiar, but if you're anything like me, I always forget that I have a familiar. Some people are really good at it. Should I shout out Emily Axford again? And how good she is at utilizing the familiars. That's usually why she makes characters that have them. The DMs are well aware that she knows she's going to use them.
Yeah.
And I'll forget about them.
You know what you should talk about? You play a gnome wizard in our campaign, and when you do your wind elemental, it can technically carry you.
Yes.
And so it like carries her around the battlefield like Rose on the Titanic, and just like, ah.
Yes. And it's great because it's short-lived. It has its action economy with mine in combat. So it's like, I remember to use that versus like, I have a fox that I sometimes remember to use. And I don't know if you remember because I always forget. I do have a squirrel. I do have a pet squirrel that lives in my hat. That I don't think has showed its face in about 20 games.
I forgot about that fox until literally this. Oh, wait, not fox, the squirrel.
The squirrel, yeah.
I forgot about it literally until this moment.
Yeah. Well, because it's like a real squirrel. And so I can't send it on a suicide mission like I can my fox familiar that I can resummon.
I think like the through thread is that having a little guy rules. I mean, I play a paladin in our campaign and I love my steed. I love summoning that steed. But I do, I use that horse in strange ways for sure.
Yeah. Which is the fun of it. It gives you more creativity. It gives you something else to do. So I like...
You know what I just thought?
What?
Remember when... So I have this like steed. If you're a paladin, you play summon steed. You can like summon like various kinds of steed, but you can summon like a war horse, and it's like a spectral. Is it spectral or astral steed? Something, that's the language for it. And we were in this part of our campaign where there's a bunch of other horses around. And so I wanted my horse to get some.
Yeah, I was like, he couldn't fit in the house. And there was a stable around the corner.
Yeah, I was like, there's literally, he can't come into this part of the adventure that we're doing. So I'm going to basically leave him outside. I'm like, I could desummon him or I could just let him like go do his own thing. Are there horses in the stable? And our DM was like, I mean, yeah. And I'm like, are they hot?
Is it a hot horse?
To a fellow horse, is it a hot horse? And he's like, where the fuck are we going with this? And then I actually ended up having...
Is it a hot horse in heat?
A philosophical discussion like with my other D&D friends outside of our session. And I was like, okay, if my spectral astral horse was to fuck a real life horse, what are is it possible? What are the ethics? Could that horse get
Can they give consent?
And like,
also, isn't that when you stumbled across the fact that horses can choose to be pregnant or not pregnant?
I think so. Dude, we're getting so deep into it. And we were just like,
So it's got to be counted as consent if that horse realized it's pregnant and like wasn't vibing with that. It could just be like, no, I'm not.
I'm like, if my horse can communicate with me telepathically, can't speak words, but it can understand, that means it's a higher intellectual being, which means like, can this like regular normie horse give consent? And then my friend was like, well, if we're gonna go by Zeus standards, and I was like, I mean, may I enter the Minotaur into the discussion? The Minotaur was created because Zeus just cannot stop coming down and like fucking.
He loves his bestiality.
And so I took it back to her. So I was like, by Zeus standards, Vulcan, which is the name of my horse, can fuck this normie horse, and. Maybe he'll have a little Minotaur, maybe a little Hercules. We don't know. Like, maybe we won't see what happens. And so there's like a Hercules Minotaur horse baby somewhere in the world of our. We'll never know. But you know,
we'll see if Bradley ever surprises us one day.
What were we talking about before I start talking? My Zeus horse.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Oh, familiars.
Yes, it's spells. We're talking about spells. Okay. Or any other spells that you love?
I feel like a classic fireball. I feel like everybody loves fireball.
Yeah.
You could just fuck shit up.
Like, who doesn't love fire? Actually, I think a better question would be, who doesn't love fireball?
Who doesn't love fireball?
Actually, if you're someone who doesn't love fireball,
let us know.
Please tell us
and what do you prefer instead?
Yeah, like why you hate fun.
Yeah.
Why you hate being awesome.
Yeah. I guess, like those big, beefy area of effect spells.
Yeah.
Circle of Death.
That's why you need that wizard in your party, bro.
Yeah.
There's not a lot, like, outside of a wizard, finding area of effect spells is pretty difficult, which is, like, good by design. Like, that's a good way to, like, balance it. But man, those area of effect spells are so... although nothing is more devastating than like rolling a fireball and it's like you roll like ones on everything and you're like, so that's gonna be 10, 15.
You know what spell? A really fun spell is Chaos Bolt. That's another one I really, really like.
I forget about that one.
Yeah,
because it's kind of like from, what is it, Xanathar's?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yes, and I think it's more geared towards. I don't remember if it's like sorcerer or warlock.
Sorcerer.
Yeah. I think it's sorcerer.
Yeah.
That you get Chaos Bolt, and that's one that you roll to hit, and if you roll the same number on your damage dice, because I think it's a pair of D6s, D8s, it doesn't matter. If you roll the same number on your damage dice, then the bolt jumps from that enemy to an additional enemy, and you can keep doing. And I think one time I rolled the same number 2 times, so I hit 3 enemies all in one turn. It was crazy because each time you get super excited that you're like, oh my god, a pair of 6s. And then those numbers also affect the damage type.
Wait, so Allie, let me ask you a question. Do you like gambling?
No.
Because I was going to be like, that sounds like you're playing, what's that one, craps?
Yeah.
You're like, give me snake eyes! Give me snake eyes!
I do like craps, actually, except for I am not allowed to play that anymore because one time I went to Vegas and played craps and had a ton of fun, but I lost an absurd amount of money.
Okay, we're starting
so
to see a trend here, you guys.
Yeah, I don't...
Hey, if you like D&D, but you also like playing craps and gambling, do I have the spell for you?
Which is so true.
So it's like someone who just loves gambling. They're like, I cast Chaos Bolt again, and you're like, hey, bro, hey, maybe we walk away.
Yeah.
Walk away while
Yeah.
I can do it again.
I can do it again. I need it again. Maybe I'll get more now.
All right, I think that wraps it up for this episode. We're going to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching another episode of The Gift of Gab.
The Gift of Gab.
Blah, 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 blah.
Bye.